Alrighty, guys. We're going to review some graphing. Miss Cash is going to give us an example of how to graph by making a table. So Miss Cash is selecting her x values. Looks like she's picking -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. She's now going to plug each of those x values into the equation y equals 2/3 x minus 5. Yes, we picked one with a fraction. Yay! So one by one, she's going to plug in our values. I know in Mrs. Novotny's class, you guys, we picked -3, 0, 3, and 6. And remember, you can pick any values you want, but we figured picking these values would be a good opportunity to review some fractions, which we will see on the final. Hopefully you are filling out and showing all of your work just as Miss Cash is modeling for us, and she's going to use that space off to the side, which we suggest that you do as well, to plug in those values. You can see that she changed 5 into 15/3 by making it have a common denominator, so this was going to be a little bit easier to do our subtraction step. Okay, now that we have found all of the y values, we're going to go ahead and we're going to write our answers as ordered pairs in our table. So our first ordered pair is going to be -2, and we're converting -19/3 into -6 1/3 because that's going to make it a little bit easier for us to graph. Alright, so now that we have our 5 ordered pairs, we're simply just going to plot them onto our grid. Remember, since we're making a linear equation, our points should form a straight line for us, and that we should see them slanting up since we have a positive slope. Now, even though we have fractions, we can still kind of estimate to the best of our ability where those thirds are going to fall. We can see that our 5 points are making a straight line, so we can guess that we've done this accurately. And that is our review of making a table to graph, which I believe is no one's favorite way. Woohoo! Let's go ahead and move on to our next way that we learned, which was graphing by using intercepts. The first thing we need to do is review what an intercept even is. And we can remember that an x and a y-intercept is where a line is going to cross an axis. So the x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis, and the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. And remember that y-intercept, we always use the letter b to represent that. That's our b when we're talking about slope-intercept form. So in order to calculate the x-intercept, what we will do is we will plug in 0 for the y value, and we will solve for x. We can always write our answer as an ordered pair to make it easier to plot. And just as we would do for the x-intercept, we will plug in 0 for x to find the y-intercept, and then we will have that as an ordered pair. Let's go ahead and try this when we have an equation in standard form. So on number 2, negative 3x plus 4y equals 12. To find our x-intercept, we're doing negative 3x plus 4 times 0 equals 12. And then we'll just use our algebra skills to find x. Now we can see that we're going to write our answer as an ordered pair. Our x-coordinate is negative 4 and our y-coordinate is that 0 that we plugged in. To find our y-intercept, we will plug in 0 for x. So negative 3 times 0 plus 4y is equal to 12. And then we can go ahead and solve for y. And we will get y is equal to 3. So our y-intercept will be 0, 3. Now, as we plot these points on our grid, remember that our x-intercept will be where it's crossing the x-axis, so we'll go 4 to the left and 0 up and plot our point, and our y-intercept will be at the ordered pair 0, 3. So now we're only using these 2 points to graph our line, and there we have it. Now, when we look at number 3, notice that it's not in standard form like it was in number 2, but we can still use intercepts to go ahead and find our points to make our graph. So again, to find our x-intercept, we plug in 0 for y. 6 times 0 equals 2x plus 12. That's going to give us 0 on the left side of our equation. So we can use our inverse operations to solve our x-intercept, which we will get that x will be equal to negative 6. And likewise for our y-intercept, we will plug in 0 for x. So 6y is equal to 2 times 0 plus 12. And after solving, we see that our y-intercept is positive 2. So again, we can plot our ordered pairs on our grid and draw our line. Now, I don't know about all of you, but I think at least my favorite way to solve is going to be by slope-intercept form, because I think that that is the easiest. But I'm a nerd, so. All right, when we're going to go ahead and graph by slope-intercept form, we need to remember that the equation needs to be solved for y, and our slope-intercept form should be y is equal to mx plus b. And remember, m represents our slope, and b represents our y-intercept. And Ms. Cash is kind enough to remind us that slope is rise over run. Okay, so in order to graph in slope-intercept form, the first thing we need to do is we need to locate and plot our y-intercept. Remember, our y-intercept is our vertical axis, so we plot that on our y-axis. Once we have our y-intercept, or b, plotted, that's when we will use our slope to count and place more points. Remember, a positive slope, our line will slant up, and a negative slope, our line will be slanting down. And then our third step is our easiest step. We simply connect the dots, and they should be connecting in a straight line. And we can go ahead and stick some arrows on the end of that line so we can remember that our line is extending in both directions. Okay, we're going to real quick do two examples of slope-intercept form. So we do not have these typed on here. Our first one we're going to do is y equals 4x plus 3. So since we are already solved for y, we can identify that b is equal to 3. And so we will plot 3 steps up, plot our point, and our slope m is going to be 4. Remember, that's 4, or 4 over 1 if you like to write it as a fraction. So since we have rise over run, we will start at b, our beginning point, at 3, and we will simply go up 4 and 1 to the right. Now, if we want to go the other direction, from 3, we are going to go down 4 and 1 to the left, because we want our points to all still line up in a straight line. So then we can connect our points, and we've graphed our line. Very nice. Number last, we will do y is equal to negative 1/2 x minus 5. So again, first we identify b equals negative 5. Then we will go 5 steps down on our y-axis and plot our ordered pair. And then from there, we're going to say that m is equal to negative 1/2. And that's already as a fraction, so we have our rise and our run. Remember, since our slope is negative, when we start at negative 5, we're first going to move 1 down and 2 to the right. And we can put more points on there if we would like, or we can go back to 5, and then we can move up 1 and 2 to the left. Once we've got our points, we can go ahead and make our straight lines, draw our arrows, and we have successfully graphed our line in slope-intercept form.